Mike, since you brought that up, do you think that will ever change, or no? It's just the way it is. It will be that way for the bigger companies.
There's certainly been talk about it, as you know, Jim, through the years, where a lot of people always said there should be an off season in professional wrestling to allow fans to get their batteries recharged.
But everybody.
Anticipate. Think of the NFL, where we're at right now with the National Football League. We're at that time of year where everybody's so excited to see the NFL. Still in the preseason, can't wait. College football's on deck. We haven't had it for months. So now you've got that anticipation. I just think at the same time, while it could be good for the wrestling business, I don't think we'll ever find out. Because I think there's so much money involved by putting out a weekly product that it's too important to keep that going. And at the same time, well, let's just say we got the two competing promotions, obviously. What if one promotion decided to have an off season? Wow, now all of a sudden you've kind of given up everything to the other. So I think it's always an interesting conversation. I think there's certainly a chance that if you could have an off season, it might get the appetites whetted, I guess, for the fans, right, and really get them fired up. But I don't anticipate it happening.
You've mentioned working with several people, commentating with them. What's it like when you're working a 2-man booth, a 3-man booth, a 4-man booth? And as the number gets higher, does it get harder?
It can. A lot of it depends on the relationship you have with the other people in the booth. I think of the harder things when you have multiple people in the booth is when you have wrestlers coming into the booth that are not used to announcing. They're used to doing an interview, they're used to doing a promo pretty much related to themselves and an upcoming match. Now all of a sudden you take a wrestler, you put him in a broadcast booth, a lot of people, a lot of the talent, it's completely foreign to them. Now you're trying to get a rhythm among play-by-play, color, and the other party in the booth. At the same time, now they're not doing what they normally do, which is do an interview about themselves. What they're doing, and oftentimes they're talking about a match involving people that they're going to have a match with in the future, obviously. But now they become an analyst. And it's funny that you bring that up. I just had, this is called a real opportunity and a real education. I just got to watch Olympic wrestling on television with Kurt Angle.
Wow.
Wow. How sweet is that?
Yeah,
How many people
amazing.
are that fortunate that they can sit there for a half an hour and watch Olympic wrestling with Kurt Angle while he sits there and explains to you everything that's going on? And we just came to the same conclusion, and I just tweeted it out because we were talking about Rulon Gardner and the fact that Rulon is both with a Greco background, but he's the analyst for both freestyle and Greco. And I just sat there and went, oh my God, Kurt Angle as a freestyle wrestling analyst would be spectacular. Here's a guy who's so comfortable, with television and knows so much. And
an Olympic gold medalist. That's his sport.
It's his sport.
And this is his sport. So
knowledge is just limitless. And I just had a great half hour watching the TV with Kurt Angle that it's an opportunity.
That would have been a great little segment to put on the social media side.
Nobody gets that chance, once in a lifetime, but just terrific. But I think when it comes to multi people in the booth, a lot of times in the WCW days that I talked about earlier, I think it was all a comfort zone. Tony, Bobby, Larry, Dusty, myself, I'd come in. I think it was just because you're comfortable, made it easy.
You've worked here with Taz, and I think it's fair to say a outstanding combination.
Thank you.
You guys bring a lot to the table here. You have somebody with the background, the knowledge, the information. You have someone that's done it. You've also had to work with Don West. Don had a different background.
Yep.
Somehow it worked. Whether people liked it or not, I mean, some people didn't like it, but they didn't like it because it was that bad. It was maybe they just didn't like it. It was different.
They weren't used to
What was it like? What was it like comparing the two? And
wow.
Are there things you do different because of their backgrounds?
Gosh, absolutely. As a broadcaster, my style has to be totally different with Don and with Taz. Number one, before we even get into nuts and bolts about the announcing, let's talk volume. When I'm out there with Don West, who is at a fever pitch, if I'm not right there with Don, I'm getting drowned out, right? Don's running me over like a freight train. With Taz, different style, totally different. Now, in terms of what those guys bring to the booth, Don, the enthusiasm of a fan. Never forget the first night we did a show. Jerry Jarrett said, that's what I want out of Don. I want Don to be the voice of the fan. So now, when I'm working with Don, I have to bring the play-by-play, more of the analysis. The background stuff is fun. I like the background stuff anyway. Now, fast forward, Taz. Totally different ballgame. What Taz brings, extreme credibility, knowledge of the sport unparalleled, knowledge of the moves unparalleled. And not only the wrestler's perspective in the booth, which when I work with Bobby Heenan, when I work with Dusty Rhodes, when I work with Larry Zbyszko, you got all that. But then think of what Taz has, where he brings that wrestler's analysis, and in so many instances, the matches that we're calling, he's been in the ring with that individual. So now you have another layer there, where it's not only Taz having the credibility and having that, the breakdown of holds and styles and contrasts and styles that we bring. But at the same time, it's Taz having first-hand knowledge, being in the ring with those guys, and the things that he can say about that. That adds another dimension. So, totally different ballgame working with Taz and working with Don. Two great guys that it's been an absolute pleasure to work with for the last 10 years.